right, Sports Talker Nation. Welcome back once again. It's your host, the G-Man, as we continue with our 2016 team-by-team preview of the NFL. Today we're going to talk about the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I am an unabashed Ravens fan. I love Ozzie Newsome. I love their coach who used to coach special teams here in Philadelphia. But they had a rough year last year. It was a very un-Raven-like year last year. I don't expect that to continue. I think they just were beset upon with injuries everywhere from Flacco to Justin Forsett to Steve Smith, Brashard Perryman, their tight ends, their offensive line were all really crushed with injuries. I don't expect that to happen again. Where they did have some struggles, regardless of injury, was on defense, which is very un-Raven-like. Although, frankly, their more modern trend has been more towards the offensive side. So let's see what they could have done this offseason to address that. On offense, Flacco comes back healthy. There's no reason to suspect that a knee injury to him is going to hurt his long-term development or his long-term performance. He's not a guy who relies on his legs. He relies on that cannon arm of his and decent blocking up front. So there's no reason to expect Flacco not to come back strong. Justin Forsett he's a perfect system fit. He's great at catching the ball, even though they didn't really use him that way. He'll be back healthy. They actually drafted some young help as well at the running back position. Buck Allen is still there. They had a good draft this year as well. Wide receivers a real struggle. You would have hoped last year that with all the injuries, they had some guys garner some playing time, which made them more valuable moving forward. But Steve Smith will be back, as I fully expected. There's no way that guy was going out with an injury. I'm a guy who ruptured both my Achilles, so when Steve Smith ruptured his Achilles, I immediately started rooting for him. He became a fan favorite. I think he's a hell of a player, has always been a hell of a player, never really got the respect he deserved. Brashard Perryman, I was not a believer when they drafted him. I'm still not a believer. Jury's out. He's big. He's allegedly fast, but he had a knee injury. Never did anything last year, so let's see. Ben Watson is a huge upgrade for them at the tight end position. They really needed someone over the middle of the field. They were missing that since they lost their tight end to that terrible hip dislocation. So Ben Watson steps in well. They did lose Kelechi Osemele on the offensive line, but they picked up Ronnie Stanley. Kenny Dixon in the draft as well. Like I said, I think he's going to help support Justin Forsett. So the offensive line should be improved. On defense is where they really needed the help, and they made a huge move, in my opinion, in picking up Eric Weddle. I think it changes your entire defense when you have a guy like Weddle. Now, he's a little older, a little long in the tooth, but he can still play. They also picked up Bronson Kafusi in the draft. I think he's a good all-around defensive end. I don't think he's a stud pass rusher, but I think he's an all-around good end. Overall, they had a great draft. There's no way they're going to perform as poorly as they did last year. I have faith in the coach. I have faith in the quarterback. I have faith in the defense to bounce back at least a little bit. I'm still only calling for an 8-8 because they have a long way to come back from last year. But I do think even more than that is possible. Flacco tends to win big games. But in a real tough division, let's say 8-8 for our Ravens this year as they continue to trend upward. And with your 2016 team-by-team preview of the Baltimore Ravens, I'm your host, the G-Man, and I am out.